Welcome to today's call. It's a fantastic subject, of course, one of my favorite, because as you know, I don't talk about anything that's not my favorite subject. So, what has been coming up lately for my guests, for my clients, is wondering why I've been focusing on my manifestations and they're not working. Why are my manifestations not coming to pass? When I made the vision board, I've repeated my affirmations every day, I visualize the future, and I focus on abundance. Why isn't it happening for me? And manifestation is one of my favorite topics. So, why isn't it happening? Nothing's changing the way we maybe expected or hoped it to change. And I don't think it's our attention, and because I've been guilty of this myself, that is the problem. And we've all heard where attention goes, energy flows, right? And when we can understand that that is happening, and we understand that our attention is helpful, but when it's not happening, something is happening, right? Something is blocking it. And I think it's really easy for us to get in what I call these loops of why isn't it happening? What's wrong with me? And we start then questioning that something is wrong with me. And many people tune into why isn't it working, which then creates another block. Or it doesn't work for me, which then creates another block. But what happens when fear comes up, or angst, or grief, or sadness, anger, or shame, instead of meeting it with compassion and understanding, and here's the big one, curiosity, we then look at it as, oh my gosh, I can't feel that way. And we push that energy to the side. We take and go, I can't be negative. So I push that energy to the side. Now, you'll see I talk a lot with my hands because I see visually energy. And so when we're pushing, it looks like the energy of grief and sadness or shame and guilt is right there. And then we go, what? And we literally are pushing it to the side. And what's happening is it's lingering right there. And instead of doing the real work on it, we think, oh, bad, I can't do that because I'm going to stop my manifestation. And that right there, my friends, is what blocks the manifestation. So, what do we do when we want something? So, desire is very, very important. So, make sure that you understand, first of all, that your desires is how you create. So stop squelching your desires. It's appropriate for you to have a desire. And as you do that, then also notice that other emotions come up. And this is where your emotional guidance system is the key to this. You'll drop in those lower numbers. Remember, 0 to 10, 10 being the best you've ever felt, 0 being the worst, 5 is neutral. When you drop into 4, which is irritation, you're feeling irritated at this moment at yourself for allowing the frustration to come in, for example. Then you're now judging yourself and you just got yourself out of the manifestation. Own it. It's okay. And the biggest secret to doing this in all that I teach is, let's keep it really simple. There are 2 parts to yourself: the ego self that says, I must be safe, and I must control, and I must be right. And then our spirit, soul self, is saying, we're flowing, we're having life's experiences. They aren't bad and wrong. But the ego judges everything as good or bad or right or wrong. It's always judging. It's judging others, good or bad or right or wrong. And when we need to rant about others' wrongness, we're also ranting about our own wrongness. We're unaware we're doing that, but it's very common to do that. We need the need to look, to criticize others is below that is our need to criticize ourselves. And being mindfully aware of that emotional scale is going to help you to go, okay, what's happening right now? Be curious and step back and say, is this the ego that's running the show, or is it my soul? And of course, if you're in those lower 5 numbers, the ego's running the show. But here's the clue or the caveat that comes in. Oh, I can't think negatively, so push it aside. That's creating a bigger problem. That energy is like a monster right here, talking to you. And then it'll come back and hook on your face. So let's instead say, oh, I'm curious about the angst that just came in. My body is feeling anxious. Why? What's causing the anxiousness in this body? Now it's going to be our thoughts. Okay. Now, sometimes it's just going to be our nervous system because we're around another nervous person, or anxiety can come up being in a crowd because we're picking it up from others, and that's us not being grounded. We can't blame others for that. It's still us not being grounded. And so when you can understand what's really happening in the energy field, then raise your awareness to what's happening. You can become curious about it rather than judgmental. And this is the key to your healing, to your transformation. I'm curious as I'm daydreaming and manifesting about my desires, why this fear came in. Well, what if I do this and this bad thing happens? Or what if I get this new home and I can't afford it? Or what if I get this wonderful lover in my life and he turns out to be horrible? What if I can't trust myself in that? Isn't that funny? We all do it. We do it. So be curious and know thyself. Know the thoughts that come up. And instead of pushing them away, because they're going to be right here, instead of doing this, do this. Oh, hello. Hello, fear. I see you. I hear you. I'm aware of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for showing up for me so I can know myself better. And then sit down and talk to that fear. The human self says, oh, protect yourself. We can't have fear. That's a no-no. The soul self says, oh, look, here's a human experience of fear. Isn't it glorious? What if we could move over to the soul self and be curious and honor every emotion that comes up. So the way that I do this exercise is I simply write down, if I'm in manifestation and then the fear comes up. So my book, for example, getting published. The fear, oh, that's going to cause a lot of judgments from others on me if I say that in this book or in this chapter. So do I not say that? And then I get caught in, should I say that? Should I not say that? Kind of like the story that I shared before we started recording. Do I say that? Do I not say that? And it puts me in a loop of judging myself. So my ego says, oh, we really need to be mindful because other people will not like what I say. And my soul self says, well, that's a curious thing. That's really curious. Let's look at that fear of being published that other people will judge you. And let's understand where that's coming from. Isn't that cool? But understanding both sides of it can help you flow, can help your manifestations just flow into abundance of good things and come into fruition. So the divine self or our soul self is saying, trust yourself. Trust what's happening here. Trust that whatever negativity that comes up is something for us to be curious about, not to shame, not to judge, not what's wrong with me, but to be curious about. And I pull out my little journal, my little blissful creations, and I write down the emotion. The manifestation is getting my book published. The fear is that I will say things that might offend others, or I will be rejected. So I write them down and I'm curious about them. So the ego is designed to keep us alive, the illusion that we're going to die, somebody's going to judge us and it's going to be horrible. And the soul self says, oh, this is cool. We get to look at this. We get to understand why we think and feel this way. We get to move into a place of knowing ourselves better. And as we come to this place of even compassion, because it's our child self that has felt judged by others. It's our child self that's saying, oh no, I need to be protected because if I get rejected, then this and this and this will happen. Or if I go into depression, then I won't be able to come out. So I must not feel those feelings. And when we allow attention to the soul parts of us, our divine self that says, trust in the flow. This is okay. Then we can accept what we deem to be the dark parts of ourselves. And anytime we are rejecting those parts of ourselves, we stay stuck in the loop. Accepting what we have judged as dark, accepting those parts of ourselves actually heals this. So when your manifestation feels stuck, understand it's coming from ego of judgment. So let's imagine, here's a great analogy, that you plant this beautiful flower. And as you know, I love flowers. And you are so excited as you're watching this flower grow and you're watering it, you're making sure it gets sun, you love it, and it only gets like yay big and it's not blossoming. And you're kind of frustrated, but also curious, what is causing my flower not to blossom fully? Well, you recall as you were planting it, this little seed, that there was a big rock next to it, and you thought that you would give it enough room and move around the rock. But what's happened is this flower has blossomed and the roots have tried to spread and they hit the rock. And so it has made the flower stuck. Well, it's not that the flower is failing. That's really important. It's that we get to remove the rock from the flowers. And in our own lives, it's important for us to be mindfully aware of what rocks are in the way of our manifestation, is our resistance to the dark parts of ourselves. The fear, the sadness, the grief, all of those need to be expressed to get to the other side, to have compassion with our child self that really does not want to feel rejected, to have compassion with all the parts of ourselves that have been afraid of being in public, or afraid of going big, or afraid of relationships, or even afraid of being healthy. Because if I'm completely healthy, will I, on a subconscious level, be expected? Will people expect things of me that I can't do? My fear of disappointing others is getting in the way of my flower sprouting. And when I can say I own the fear of disappointing others and write it down and go to the child self that said, oh, I really didn't like that moment when mom and dad looked at me in disappointment because I didn't do the dishes correctly, and I am going to avoid that at all costs. When we can go to the child self who felt the fear, the sadness, the disappointment, then we get to own it. and say, sweetheart, you're okay. And others' disappointment in you are also their disappointment in themselves, because we understand the human game. So when we become compassionate with the child self who took on that dark belief, that belief that has you stuck, and you love that child self, and you teach wisdom to the child self. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be sad. And here's the truth of this situation, that we are going to disappoint people throughout our whole lifetime. And that's okay. That's okay. Notice when you've been disappointed in others, and that's okay. You had an expectation, they didn't meet it, you were disappointed. It didn't mean that you didn't love that person anyway. When we can shine light on what we deem a negative emotion, it heals it. And the light is compassion and love. And the moment that we have a need to nitpick on someone else, we can have compassion for that, because we've had a need to nitpick on ourselves. So understand the rock next to your root is your judgments. They are, I shouldn't feel this way. I shouldn't be doing it this way. Instead, the soul says, thank you for showing me the rock. Thank you for showing me that I feel fear of disappointment, fear of hurting someone else. So I don't want to get in a relationship because I might hurt them. So to complete this, we're going to go into raising your awareness to the moment that you feel the negative emotion. Instead of judging the negative emotion, become curious about it. Journal it. Talk to it with love and compassion, for it is your child's self. Next, let's go into body awareness. Take some deep, slow breaths. Feel your heart. And if you'd like to, you can close your eyes. Remember when I spoke about the dark cave and how beautiful it was to go still? We are recreating that with ourselves. And then ask the question, what part of me has been asking for my attention? This is a key question. What part of me has been asking for my attention? Because it's that part of you asking for attention that is the fear or the ego, the fear of disappointment, the judgments. That's asking for your attention. And the way you'll know something's asking for your attention is by how you're interacting with others or not interacting with others. The judgments, if you're blaming a person for your life being miserable, or from something not going right, or for a relationship going bad, if you're blaming another person, then you will remain stuck. Take a deep breath. Be compassionate with yourself. You have judged yourself harshly, and that's why you're judging them harshly. Awareness is the key to healing. Let's shine the light on it. Help us to say, it's okay that I've judged. I don't like the feeling that I've created within myself, and so I judge others because of it. Instead, I forgive myself. I am sorry. I forgive me. I am sorry for being so judgmental. I forgive me. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to judge. But instead saying, I see you. I hear you. I feel you. Thank you, child self and ego, for needing to protect me. But I'm okay. I am okay. I'm safe. I am loved, loving, and lovable to all parts of myself, even those that I have judged as dark. You don't need to carry this alone, self. I've got you. My child self, I've got you. Sweetheart, you're okay. You can be seen. You're important. You have important things to say. You have important feelings to feel and to hold the space of love for others. And imagine that harsh judgment softening right now, that fear of disappointing others, fear of failure. And just imagine it softening. It's becoming pliable, like Play-Doh instead of hard cement. And now it's becoming like cotton. We can pull it apart. The energy of it becomes soft and fluffy. So being mindfully aware that we are the creators of our stuck energy, no one else is, and we can move it to love, and we can allow whatever dark feelings to surface that are going to surface. It's about becoming available to those dark aspects of ourself that are our child self asking for attention. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for showing me, for bringing to my awareness what gets to be looked at, where I have judged another, I have judged myself. And instead, I choose. I'm sorry I have judged you. I forgive you for doing what I deemed as inappropriate. I am sorry to myself for judging myself, and I forgive myself for the harsh judgments that I should have been better. Thank you for showing this to me. Thank you to this person for showing up so I could see what's in me that gets attention and love and acceptance. And I love you. I love you for showing up for me to teach me this valuable lesson about myself. And I love me for showing up and doing sometimes the hard work, which means owning the dark feelings, looking at them, being curious about them, and loving them anyway. Bringing compassion, love, and connection. When our fearful parts feel safe enough to be transparent, they heal. And that is the message of today. You are healing. And that's what gets in the way of our manifestations, those rocks. That big rock by our flower that's trying to blossom is our strong judgments that we're trying to push away what we deem negative feelings. But it's those negative feelings, it's your hurt, it's your anger, it's your frustration that are your greatest teachers. You will get to a point in your life where you say, thank you for this trigger, this upheaval, this mess. Thank you. And I love you. Thank you for showing me what needs to heal. And thank you for showing me that I need to speak a boundary. Thank you for teaching me what still resides in me that I want to clean up. Instead of pushing it away, you get to acknowledge it and look at it. So, to sum up, what have I been trying to manifest, first of all? What would I like to create in my life? Write it down. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am experiencing beautiful relationships, a healthy body, the home of my dreams, whatever it is you're looking for. Get those desires on paper. My healthy relationship with myself, my healthy body, my healthy relationship with a beautiful partner who matches me. And then what emotion have you been avoiding when you go into this manifestation that shows up? Write it down. Fear of love, fear of relationships, fear of being healthy, fear of disappointing others. Write it down. And then give compassion to that emotion it's teaching you. What if that emotion isn't actually blocking you, but it's inviting you? It's inviting you to look at it so that you can heal that inner child. So my blessing for you Today, may you release the pressure you put on yourself that you can't feel negative emotions. Please feel them. Be curious about them. Journal them. Have compassion with them and love them. And may you meet your manifestations with love, joy, and acceptance. And as you do this, watch your life become blissfully flowing. I honor you and I love you. Go out and be the love that you are. Do it passionately and have blissful living.